Hi everyone, welcome back to the Driving Talk podcast. This is part 2 of our episode with Charles Rainford. Part 1 was a fantastic listen, so if you can get yourself back onto Spotify, your Amazons, your Apple Podcasts, get back on there and listen to Two on the Side and a little bit off the top featuring Charles Rainford in part 1. You'll hear all about his historic racing and his rise through the ranks, through the historic ranks. Certainly something that he never saw a classroom to do, that's for sure. In this part 2, we talk about his career to do with mainly the Porsche Carrera Cup GB and how he ended up on the podium at the LeMan supporting race. It's a fantastic listen, so it's time to get back into the Driving Talk podcast, powered by Icon with Charles Rainford.
And we looked at doing either Ginetta G55 Super Cup or Porsche Carrera Cup, and we had two cars that we could have possibly bought. Neither car was particularly different in money, really. We got a really good deal on the 991 Gen 2 Cup car. It was amazing, right? Really, really generous. So we went to the final round at Brands Hatch in 2020 and saw the cars coming through. The Jessel came through. And we went, actually, they look a bit like a Marcus, and how you set it up is quite similar to a Marcus. And then the Porsches came through, and we were just like, oh, wow, like unreal. The noise, the way the cars look, how the championship looked from the outside, and the money of it didn't really look too different, really, when you take into account how much the Ginettas break, or the old car break quite a lot, especially drive shafts and that kind of thing. So when you took all that into account, we thought, well, let's start with Porsches. And we managed to get finance and buy the car to get the first bit, because no sponsors were even interested in talking, because I'd not done anything. I'd just done historics and then raced a 4K and did fairly all right. So that was it, really.
Did 2.5 hours in a KA and then went, I want to go race Porsche.
So no sponsors were interested at all. So we had to buy the car somehow. We managed to do it, put everything on the line, but we managed to do it. And I turned up at the first test in March. Was it March? No, it wasn't. It was February. Very cold February, in the Cup car for the first time at Snetterton. And honestly, on the first lap, it must have been about no more than 8 degrees outside. And honestly, for the first lap, I thought, I can't do this.
Do you think this has been a bad decision?
I literally thought, I can't do this. I'm not good enough for this. And I couldn't even get out of the pit lane. I was just spinning the wheels. I had no throttle control, because I'd never driven something more than 200 horsepower. And all of a sudden, to go into a 485 horsepower Porsche, it was just unreal.
On cold slicks
in March. I couldn't do it. Anyway, managed to get confident with the car, and lap times on the first day were okay, nothing to shout about. But it was getting better for the day, and it ended up being the end of the day, last session. I thought, actually, this is all right. I enjoy this now. This is fun.
I'm having a go.
I'm having a good time. So we then managed to get some sponsorship, because my times were fairly representative for the class we were looking at, which was the PROAM class for the first year. Turned up at media day, managed to actually get the King Dick Tool sponsorship, which was really cool. So we turned up on.
So how did that sound like a bit of a story? So
it's basically one of our customers knew a guy called Griff, who was the owner of King Dick Tools, and said he was a fantastic motorbike racer. He has actually won the most amount of race out of anybody on a motorbike around Mallory Park. Which is very cool.
That is
very, very interesting.
That's quite impressive, because there's a lot of racing.
If I get a chance, I must introduce you to him, because he's a really, really cool guy. Just loves his racing.
Me and Dad are big into our bikes.
Amazing.
We love it.
Awesome. So from that, managed to get some sponsorship. There was no real massive money there. It was enough to start the season, basically, and do media day to try. And then the plan was do media day, show that we're fast, or fast within reason, and then try and get sponsorship on the back of that, which again was a risky plan, because we paid the entry and everything, but might not still be able to race. Thankfully, the media day was then at Brands Hatch Indy, which at the time I was working at probably 2-3 times a week. In doing the retail days, doing track days, doing everything at Brands Hatch. Knew it fairly well. Managed to go, I think it was about 5th overall and first in Pro-Am around Brands Hatch Indy. And from that, we were able to then take sponsors, and it was a delayed season as well. So I don't think the first round
was that 21. The COVID year?
No, year after, but it still started late.
21 was
late.
Yeah.
First round was at.
There was a second lockdown, I think, wasn't there?
That's
It
it.
was post-Christmas
Yes.
lockdown.
We did media day,
Was that
then there was a lockdown.
Yeah, that was our second year in the minis. 22.
21.
Yeah, it was second year. Yeah, it was.
It was a late start, wasn't it?
With Toka, we only did about 5-6 rounds.
That's it.
Five rounds,
That's it. Something like that. Yeah. So it meant that I had time to go and find some money to start the season. And thankfully, we did well on media day. It then meant I got sponsorship to be able to run the car for the year, which was amazing. Managed to get third in the first year. But I remember we turned up at the first weekend at Snetterton, and we did not have a clue.
No.
Like, I think I qualified almost last.
Yeah.
We didn't understand how the slicks worked. In Carrera Cup GB, we always run 2 new sets of slicks. So you get 2 goes at it, because the second peak happens completely different to the first, and the track's rubbered in and all that. So we did 1 set, and I couldn't work out why I had so much rear locking. It's because the rear tyres had ballooned, because I decided to go out first, warm the tyres up, then come in, then redo the pressure, and then go out again. Which, looking back on it now, you go, that's not how you do it, lads.
No.
But anyway, had a good weekend. Almost got a podium on my first weekend, which was good. I think I finished 4th.
You're right.
That was all right.
How do we do that?
Yeah, how do we do that? So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then managed to get 3rd in my first year, which was amazing. And then we thought, oh gosh, we've got to try and do it again now.
Yeah.
So through, not quite robbing a bank, but coming close to it, we managed to do last year, and last year was just an absolute dream. We started the season a little bit slower, I suppose. I think where was the first round last year? Brands. Yeah, we didn't have the best weekend at Brands. Oh no, Donington. It was Donington last year.
Yeah, so it's got to be our first round. It's with the supports. Carrera Cup does most of them, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but,
things coming
with a lot of the stuff that I've done, particularly over the last few years, it's only been 6 or 7 rounds. So quite often our first round hasn't been the same first round for you. So
started the season fairly slow. I think I came off the first round in. Oh no, I was last in the championship actually. The PROAM Championship was last.
Yeah. You thought you were first, but you were last.
No, I was last. And then we did Brands Hatch, and I got a win in the second in class. In class. And then we went to Alton Park, and that's when I got my first overall podium. I managed to win both races in PROAM, and then ever since then, I actually won every race in PROAM after that.
Okay.
So it was really, really cool. I managed to win the championship actually here last year. So I had the last round of the year to then do without needing to worry about just scoring points, and then managed to win the last round of the year overall at Brands Hatch.
I remember watching that, and I was thinking,
it's just
fair play to go and stick it to some very, very well established, very good big teams in Carrera Cup. 100%. And to go and do that as a privateer setup team that I know was running it on a budget, but not being able to afford everything that was necessarily needed. Everything maybe needed to race, but maybe not needed to have the extra bits.
The ultimate performance, that little bit that gives you a bit more in qualifying, just that couple of tenths in the race.
An extra set of tyres on it.
The little 1%ers.
Yeah. And that is what makes the difference in this sport. You know, if you've got that extra bit, it just helps so much. It was a hell of an achievement to win that last race.
Definitely. But on the back of that, it did mean then.
So, sorry, just with all of that, obviously winning the championship last year was absolutely pucker. But what else would you say is a standout moment so far while you've been racing Porsches? Because haven't you raced in Europe as well? Have you done any Super Cup stuff?
No, I've done no Super Cup stuff. Although, actually, I did completely gloss over that. In 2021, the opportunity, because I was technically a rookie and I'd be a bronze, actually, apart from my age, but otherwise I fully qualified for bronze and a rookie. I got invited to do the race at the French Sprint Challenge for Porsches. So at the 24 Hours of LeMan as a support race, which was really
I remember
cool.
you going to do that.
Yeah, which was really, really
Was
cool.
that not in a Carrera Cup car?
That was in a Carrera Cup car.
So why is it called Sprint Challenge?
Because it's for 992 Cup cars. It's for 911 GT3R. For 991 Gen 2, 991 Gen 1.
Right.
Everything. 997, 996.
It's just a complete Porsche.
A mix-up of everything. Yeah.
Everything's got its own class. Everything races in one race.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a class for each individual Cup car, or 911R, or RSR, or whatever. The only thing that wasn't there was the newest RSR, but I think there's even still a 997 RSR. It's still there.
Basically, you're not going to win overall.
No, you're not going to win overall, but you can certainly try.
You can have a go.
So so we came directly on that weekend. We actually went straight from Knock Hill down to LeMan.
I remember. Did you fly? Did you drive?
No, we drove.
You drove because obviously the car was with you. And
totally. Yeah, so we had to drop the car off so somebody else could take it because we weren't going to take our horse box transporter, the silver lorry,
to LeMan.
Literally.
That didn't go.
No, so that didn't go. So we got the car transported with a friend of ours that was already going.
Okay.
With the historics, so that was perfect.
Yeah, magic.
So very kindly got him to take the car there, and then we had to load up 2 hired vans, one of which I was driving, to then go down to LeMan in, which was just, I thought it was a proper lads
cool.
trip.
Yeah,
so cool, proper. And then we turned up the first day, had to fix a couple of bits on the car from Knock Hill.
That's a surprise.
When I previously as well, before Knock Hill, I did loads of practice on the sim because I was thinking it was quite a big event. We were hoping that we'd be even maybe inside the top 10 would just be in class would have been a fantastic achievement to go there. We're against teams like Huber, GP Elite, Legner were there, like the proper teams.
Yeah.
All the drivers were bronze or rookie.
Yeah. Okay.
So it made it fairer, obviously.
Yeah.
Some cars had ABS.
Yeah.
I didn't. No. So again, it all starts to just level up a little bit.
So this was a 991 Gen 2.
In class I was in. There was 992s there, 992 Cup cars. There was 911Rs, and then all the others. 991 Gen 2, 991 Gen 1, everything, all the way down.
Yeah.
And we thought, I'm going to run the drive shaft, and we got 2 free practice sessions on the first day, then a qualifying, and then a race.
Okay.
So really good. And the race was on the Sunday just before the 24 hours started.
Yeah.
So it was actually, we're like, wow, there's going to be crowds there.
Yeah.
We get to use the Rolex podium was part of it as well.
Yeah.
So it was all of a sudden, this has got really serious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the podium at LeMan.
Yeah. Exactly. So all of a sudden it's like, right, this is going to be it. So I had to run a drive shaft in, and I said to the lads, right, I'm just going to make sure the circuit looks the same out on the track as it does on iRacing.
Yeah.
Because I did loads of practice.
Yeah.
And did the first couple of laps slowly. Obviously, it's a 45-minute session, but around LeMan, it's a long lap.
Yeah.
So you don't do that many laps, about 10 laps.
10 laps. Yeah.
10 laps. So first kind of, 7 laps, I'm just kind of feeling out, going, right, I go here and I go there, and then right, there's that point. Okay, that curve feels the same. Right, drive shaft's all in and everything, perfect. And I said, right at the end of the session, I'm going to put a lap in and just push, see what I can do. Anyway, there was 50 car, it was a 50 car grid. So it was a big grid and all sorts out there. There was probably like 7 992s. There was 5 911Rs. And then there was loads of 991 Gen 2 Cup cars because that was the one that was being used everywhere at the time. And right at the end, there was 3 screens that my team were looking at of just names, and car numbers,
in like from first to 50th.
Literally, yeah.
And I was down at the bottom.
I was pretty much at the bottom.
Screen, yeah.
I was at the bottom of the bottom screen. Anyway, I came around and won a lap.
Purple.
Yeah, I wish, almost.
Okay.
So I came round and they all went, cool, that's quicker than the last lap. Right, all right, we'll look on the TV screens. And I was right at the bottom. They went, oh, no, he's not at the bottom screen anymore. Oh, no, he's not at the middle one. Where is he on the top? He's second in the Pro Free Practice 1. Right at the end of the session, I managed to put it second overall, which was just a fantastic thing.
It's not bad from iRacing,
Not bad for iRacing. The term must say they do a fantastic job with the sim on that. It's very, very accurate. But yeah, so from that, we're like, actually, we've got a chance now. So we're very lucky that with the Sprint Challenge France, we actually had Sacha Masson as our driver coach for the series to help us at LeMan, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So I actually asked him really cheekily, I was like, can I have like 45 minutes with you? And he was like, yeah, no problem at all. Really super kind guy. Like I learned so much from him.
Yeah.
Like it was just incredible. Telling me about how the tyres work, how you've got to bring the tyres at LeMan. It's very, very different. So you've got the mold down straight, but when the tyres are cold, you don't want to take them over 150 kilometers an hour.
Right, okay.
Because apparently it changes how the chemical balance works for the next lap in the slow speed stuff, and it's just super, super interesting, teaching me about the draft, side toe, how it all works, that kind of thing. Said to me in qualifying how I should try and leave a couple of second gap, because then I'll get a slipstream all the way down each part of the Mulsanne. And if I judge it right, I should overtake him just before I then get into Mulsanne corner.
Into the right-hander at the bottom of the straight.
And then he said, right, that'll be your lap. Then don't make a mistake until you get through Indianapolis. Don't make a mistake because you'll be fine.
Don't look at your delta.
Yeah, literally at that point, because you'll never do the lap again.
It's good. Yeah.
So it got to qualifying, and obviously I was very nervous because at this point we'd been top of both practice sessions in class. Both times top 5 overall.
So where were you in the second session?
We ended up third in the second session overall. So we were there each time, which is really cool.
In the mix.
Yeah. Everybody else started to get a bit more confident in the second session, so our time started being a lot closer.
Yeah.
But in qualifying, I got very lucky. It all worked out perfectly. I had a slipstream all the way down the Mulsanne, overtook the car before I got to the braking zone.
Yeah.
Then, I know. I had another toe all the way down into Indianapolis. And it's like, wow, here we go.
Yeah. You're like, do not lock up.
Do not lock up. Got into the Porsche curves, managed to take the second part through the left flat out, and it was like, this is a good lap.
Yeah.
And then
I'm going to be a pro driver.
Yeah. Exactly. This is first overall territory.
Yeah.
Anyway, unfortunately, got held up by a 992 of all things in the final Ford chicane, but it was still enough, thankfully, to take pole position in class by over a second. Which was just awesome.
And where do you think you'd have been if you'd have bowled it?
I could have been maybe top 3 overall.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 5th overall, first in 991 Gen 2 class, but the next 991 Gen 2 was 10th overall.
Right, okay, yeah.
So I'd be in all the 911
To be honest, that's quite nice, because when you start the race, you're like,
I don't need to actually worry here.
I'm all right.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So as long as you get through the first corners safely, you're all right.
Yeah. We can defend on a few of them and they're still behind us. It's okay.
Yeah. So it was really, really cool. To be top of all the 911Rs as well. The only things in front of me were 992 Cup cars.
Yeah.
So I was pretty happy.
You've done a decent job.
Done a good job. Yeah. So it gets to the race, and obviously now I'm like even more nervous, because sometimes you've probably found as well, if you've had a really good qualifying and you're right at the front and you're racing against nobody you've ever raced against before, you're all of a sudden like, what if something happens out of my control? What if you've got this one opportunity? You're not allowed to do this race again.
You've not got a chance to. How many people are watching?
Yeah.
You're like, when you start from like the back, you're kind of like, well, I'm probably not going to win. So
no, exactly.
Wherever I get to bonus, and sometimes you race better like that. But when you're from the front, it's like, okay, don't mess this up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
when you think don't mess this up, that's usually when you mess it up.
Literally.
Yeah.
So thankfully managed to get away cleanly. It was a rolling start as well, which is quite new for Carrera Cup. I'd never done a rolling start before that day as well. So that was a new experience. Didn't do a particularly good job of it, but got away. It was fine. All of a sudden,
place buffer.
Literally.
Right.
Well, this is it. The thing is, because the cars behind me were so much quicker down the straights, 992s, which are now 510 horsepower instead of 485, obviously, and the 911Rs were quicker down the straights as well. It meant that I just got gobbled up before we got even to the first chicane, because it is a long road. It takes a long time to get down there.
From that kind of speed.
Yeah, 60 Ks.
Yeah,
so I was just gobbled up. Yeah, literally. And then there was a big incident at the first corner, which I managed to avoid. I then managed to overtake a couple of cars before we got to the kink, before we go down the Mulsanne. And then down the Mulsanne, I was just like, okay, bye.
Do you like park at one side, like...
Yeah, literally. Yeah. But then the historic racing came in, because I was so much quicker in the corners.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of confidence. But they're so much slower down the straights.
Yeah.
But then had the confidence in the corners. So it then meant it was back to historic racing again.
Yeah.
Where I'm getting overtaken down the straights, then need to pick my points in the corners and just make the car difficult to be overtaken down the down the straights.
Craftily use your one move. So, that wasn't a defensive move. I was just drifting across.
Yeah, exactly. Just make it a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Then we carried on the race. It was great fun. I wasn't ever really in a battle. Thankfully, at one point, the car behind me disappeared, and the next car in class from the front of the Mulsanne, I couldn't see him anymore. And I thought, all right, just chill.
Yeah, you've probably got this now.
Yeah. Just chill out now. Anything that wanted to come past me is more than welcome to come past me. had 911R, which I was quicker than in the corners, but he would overtake me down the straights. And in the end, I was like, just go past me, and I just backed off.
It's so hard when it's like that, because you can't do anything. You're helpless, aren't you? Totally. You start in you're quick enough to be quicker than them over a lap, but to overtake them, you're gonna hit them.
Yeah,
you can't.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, so
it's like, can you follow me for a lap? Get a bit better and then go. It'd be just so much better.
I know what you mean.
Just need you to learn a little bit, and then
it's funny because you'll know the guy as well that I was actually battling with in the 911R.
Okay, we shouldn't.
It's a Team Parker one. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. Okay.
But it was good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I got very lucky as well. The reason that I was able to drop everybody else in class was because they were having the battle of their life in the slipstream with each other.
Yeah.
So I mean, there were like 3, 4 wide.
And absolute carnage.
Totally. It was absolute carnage in class behind me. Like, there was so many people going to the stewards because of what happened behind me in class. So I got very lucky on that. Also, the safety car came out with 5 minutes to go. And the next car that I couldn't see my mirrors anymore, all of a sudden was then directly behind me, which was great. And I thought, right, if this goes green again, I don't care. I'm crashing I'm either going to win this or I'm going to crash trying.
I've got a long time to walk back to the pits to work out what Dad's going to say.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm winning this race. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to give it a go because it never went back to green flag racing, and thankfully managed to win the race. But to be standing on the top step of the Rolex podium, I know it's not the 24 hours of Le Mans, but in that moment you go, actually, this is a highlight. This is something special. Yeah.
So would you say that was better than winning your first Carrera Cup race?
Looking back at what it's done for us as a team, no.
Yeah.
But me personally, as a memory to remember right now, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
to go, I've won a race, a support race at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in a Porsche Cup car. You go, that's pretty cool. Actually.
Yeah, I think that would be
pretty cool.
There's not many people have done that.
No.
Yeah.
No, that is very cool.
So it was a pretty special experience.
Very,
really
very
special
cool.
Experience.
And of course, it's very.
So,
it's been
2023. You're obviously, you've got the PROAM Champion as part of your war chest now. So have you almost found that this year people aren't really taking you by surprise anymore? You're going into a battle every time because the other drivers are quite wary of you, should we say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole so far until this season, it's been quite nice being the underdog, being the one that nobody actually really knows and nobody expects to be there. To then go into this season
kind of under the radar.
Yeah, to go into this season initially as a championship contender and being posted that by Porsche as a championship contender was then quite a big shock. Unfortunately, this season we've had a few bad weekends, things more or less out of our control. Cars flying back on track in front of me, a few issues, being hit a few times has not helped. So it means that the championship is now a long shot, although we are still third in the championship. So as a family-run team, single car team, it's a fantastic thing.
Top 3 in Carrera Cup as a privateer is a bloody good effort.
Yeah.
If you'd said that at the start of the season, you're going to be...
Yeah.
Hopefully, you go further forward.
Totally.
But if you end up third in Carrera Cup, if you end up third in the Carrera Cup and you've done it with a top team, you've done very well.
Yeah.
To do with a privateer team is...
I can't
imagine that has been done.
No. I don't even know if actually a driver has won the PROAM Championship or a race overall as a privateer.
No. Well, I can't really think of anybody who's entered Carrera Cup as a privateer.
That's a good point. Yeah. Nobody's tried it yet. Yeah. They've all gone, no, why would I do that?
Yeah, that's... Why do you do that? Stupid idea.
Yeah. Just go run with the boys that have done it for years. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we laugh when we say about it now, but Charles, you've done that.
Yeah.
You've turned up effectively as the underdog, and my God, you've turned heads in the first few years, and now, so we can't really talk about the future, can we? But in an ideal world, what would you want the future to look like for you?
The future for me, I mean, it's the same as Max, really. I just want to drive racing cars. Unfortunately, I'm not really good at anything else. I can't play football. I'm not very good at that. I did learn to play the guitar, which was part of my schooling.
Okay. You're quite good.
I used to be all right. I did my grade 8 classical.
When's your first gig?
Porsche Night of Champions.
Ah, wow. I can't give that away yet. No, I'm not. They get so much more talented. But no, I
might bring an inflatable one.
Yeah. Yes. In that case, I'm playing.
Yeah.
Especially after a bottle of champagne.
Yeah. I'm on yours.
You get an inflatable guitar to Cardboard Charles. That'll do it.
Yeah, that Cardboard Charles is great fun.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah. You know, it actually got stolen at Brands Hatch.
Did it?
It did, yeah. So somebody's got it somewhere, which is a bit creepy.
Yeah. Can you imagine that's in someone's bedroom looking at them?
No, it's so weird. What with the helmet?
Well, Rob and I did sort of kneel down. Rob and I did kneel down and bow
on the cardboard cutout. My hair is much, much longer, so it actually comes down to like about here, like this.
It took so many travels, didn't it?
It did. The best one is Graves took it at Croft, and I've still got. Yes, I've still got all the photos of the journey of Cardboard Charles.
Cardboard.
I've even got a photo of my car going past on track with Cardboard Charles standing there with a beer.
It was class. It was
very, very funny.
That is brilliant.
Very funny.
Because I was trying to.
Okay, so it's as we record this. It's Bank Holiday Monday, so obviously the weekend just gone, and you've said, as we started the podcast, you've both been at Donington on the Grand Prix circuit. So, Max coach, Charles Rainford, how did Donny do? Give us the Donny debrief.
After you, Max.
I think it was great racing on the GP. The two, I've done quite a lot of racing on the National, not so much on the GP. And to drive, it added a bit of a complexity that Donington's not had really for me too much before. The two hairpins were probably two of my most difficult corners to get right, and actually I think well, we've done a few hairpins in the Cayman so far, but it's quite a difficult technique to get.
The thing is, the hairpins at Donington on the GP circuit, the other thing you can really compare it to would be more or less Snetterton, but you handle the corners completely different.
Yeah, but Snetterton's a bit slower, I think. Or they're probably not any slower, but they're sharper.
Yeah.
So the Donington ones kind of got to roll quite a bit of speed, and that's a really, really tricky thing to do in the Porsche. But in terms of the event, it seemed really busy on Saturday.
Yes.
I was like, this looks like a Sunday. But Sunday was really busy. For me, on track, qualifying was pretty tough in our session. I think it was across the board, really.
Yeah, I think for you guys in the Caymans, it was. So I've obviously been following the Caymans very, very, very closely on the pit wall, the whole thing, because of coaching Callum in the amateur class.
It basically rained after 5 laps.
Yes.
So personally, I didn't really get going quick enough. That was a bit of a faux pas on my front, but also hampered a little bit by not having a new set of tyres on the Friday. So we had to start further down the order to go out, so I was 9th rather than probably being top 5, and it meant that on my best lap I had the 2 hairpins to do after the rain hit, so my best lap was a bit hampered. My second best lap was hampered by trying to pass a back marker and another driver who possibly wouldn't have been ahead of me had I had a new set of tyres on the Friday. So into quali pacey, then I was quite a bit quicker. So quali was difficult, but you make your own luck, and that's how it goes. So I was 5th for the first race and brought home a podium. So that was good. And then the second race I started 10th and got to 5th. And to be honest, I kind of thought if I got to 6th, I'd have done all right. Anything after that was a bonus. So that was pretty good. And then the last race, I went from 5th to about 9th at the start, which wasn't really ideal.
I did wonder.
I was carrying a bit of damage the whole race. So I had a knock on the left front wheel. I don't really know what it was towing in at, but it didn't really feel right. To the point of I wasn't sure whether I should pit. on the first lap, but didn't and kept going. So I was pretty happy with the verdicted glass with a damaged car that I thought might be a pit stop at the end of lap 1. So Ethan, my teammate, did a great job in the last race. Had his first overall podium in Sprint Challenge. So overall, it was a very good weekend. We've gone from being 5th in the championship to being joint 2nd, but having 2nd, kind of ironically, I've not won a race on track, but had it given to me in the steward's room. Wow. So I've won a race. Joe Warhurst has won a race on track, but has had it taken off him in the steward's room. So isn't 2nd because he has but hasn't won a race, and I haven't but have won a race, basically. So sport. Yeah, that's, so I'm 2nd and he's 3rd, but we're joint 2nd. So it's a good place to be going into the last few. I think if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, if you'd have said to me when I left here on the media day, you're going to be 2nd in the championship with 2 rounds to go, I'd have said, some people have messed up quite a bit. But now we're going well, and I feel like I'm in a good position. I know what I'm trying to do in the car. I think we're in a good place for the last 2 rounds. The win of the championship is probably still difficult, but doable. So looking forward to the last 2 really.
Yeah. Very good.
Yours?
Very good.
I watched most of yours, to be fair.
Yeah,
from
thank you.
From the hairpin.
It was brilliant. To be fair, anything down at the hairpin when you got high horsepower is pretty cool to see. I thoroughly enjoyed watching the Cayman Free Practice 1, actually. Yeah. From down at the hairpin.
You didn't watch our race from there?
No, I don't.
I had the mother of all slides.
Did you?
I overtook Toby.
Do you know what? Yes, I saw it on the telly. I forgot to tell you about that. Yeah, unreal.
That was a crash. So the wheel had gone out of my hands. And then as it went, I was like, oh no, this is going to snap back into the wall. And then Toby tries to give me a wallet, and somehow it just reset it and sent me off on my way. I was like, oh.
Amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. And then about 2 corners later, I had another one that was about 3/4 of the size out of turn 1. And then thought maybe I should
back it off a little bit.
Try and be a little bit more sensible.
Yeah. just dial it back.
Yeah. I just kind of thought, sod it, we're trying to cool tyres, just go for it and see what happens. And once you do as much as you can, but you just got to go for it. And then if you've got it in front of them, then work out how you're going to keep them there.
Yes.
So it was good fun.
Yeah, no, but I joined the park. Unfortunately, where I had everything go my way last year, I had all the luck in the world. I could do no wrong last year. It seems like the universe is literally making up for that this season.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of unfortunate things happen to me this season, which seem to be more or less out of my control. The pace that we showed, our setup actually was absolutely spot on for Dynton Park. In the free practice, actually, we went 2nd overall. When I was on very used old race tyres and everybody was on scrubbed. So I was very, very happy with the pace on the Thursday. We got to the Friday, looked at some more data, found a bit more time again. We thought, actually, this is going to be fantastic. It got to Saturday after you guys went out for your qualifying, and it went very, very wet. We adjusted a few things for our session, with knowing that the track wasn't going to be rubbered in at all, which, again, was going to work fantastically well. Went out, did the first tyre run. At the time, I think I was inside the top 5. I think I was doing it was all right.
I think it was 2nd,
something like that. Yeah,
I think it was 2nd on the first run.
Yeah, so it was good. And then went out for the 2nd run, and I got a puncture because of a bad seal on the tyre on my front left.
No,
I know. Yeah. And because the track was very green to start with, everybody went so much faster on the second tyre run. Yeah. And I was also going so much faster until somebody decided to let me go, get me past, which was kind of them, but they were sitting on the racing line coming into the chicane.
Yeah, okay. Not ideal.
So not ideal. So they're getting out the way, but they're not really. They know exactly what they're doing, which is fine. You know, it's qualifying. people play these games.
Was that another pro?
Yes, I can't say who.
Someone in the championship battle?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't actually.
Okay.
But the certain team that you'll know have some interesting
tactics. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
There's getting out of the way and getting out of the way.
Yes, there's getting out of the way and there's getting out of the way. There's me in FP2 getting out of the way and Callum's car shaking it down, and then there's how getting out of the way.
You were quite good in that.
So as I then went into the chicane, my puncture was still not great because the tyre pressure was so much lower on that side. As I hit the curb, it actually sent me in the air instead of absorbing any kind of bump. So it put me massively out of position and I lost all the lap time. After that, the front left tyre pressure was so low, I just had so much rear locking because the rake was sitting all completely wrong. Did you know the rear wheel off
or not?
I knew it was low, but whether I put the brake bias back or forward, it just made no difference.
So in the Cayman, we've got pressures on the dash.
Yes, we have that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew there was some kind of issue because the pressure never came up to what it should be.
Yeah.
And it was completely different to all the others.
And it wasn't worth a pit stop at that point?
No, because we had no others mounted, because I can't afford enough wheels to have another set mounted, basically. So
I know the feeling.
You know, feeling too well.
So did you not have the first set?
I had the first set, but they're done at that point.
It's then going to work out whether an old...
Totally.
And this is exactly the type of thing that makes it difficult when you're on a budget.
10 tenths. Just the 1%ers.
Yeah. So what's 4 wheels in Carrera Cup?
Just
4 wheels in Carrera Cup is about £5,000.
Bloody cheaper than it is in Cayman.
Is it?
It's 7.
Is it 7? Blimey.
Including
what?
7 grand.
16 grand for a set of mono wheels.
Mate, I was a cheap then.
I'll go race Bono's then.
Can you buy me 2 sets?
Very good.
So
seriously, I looked for a set of 15-inch wheels for the Focus for Modified Force to put a set of Cooper slicks on, and they're like 300 quid, and you guys are spending like 5 to 7 grand on them.
So it just makes a massive difference. It's
Jesus.
It's that kind of money that I don't have.
As the tyres every time you put them on. Yeah. It is bonkers, but it makes a difference.
Does make a difference.
So I had 2 sets of wheels at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So my choice was wets or dry.
Yeah.
It wasn't a choice of
good
or bad.
You have to get those mounted. So you'll have to decide.
So anytime it looks like sketchy, it's like you've just got to put a set of wets on a set of slicks.
Yeah.
But like you say, the track tends to get better.
Totally.
And so that's why, like at the start of the season, so first and second round, I hung back and waited till the end of the session. Yeah. Which means you only get one go at it, which puts so much more pressure on. Totally. And as we said, when you put pressure on, you then go, don't make a mistake. No. And then you drive under a little bit. And it's just...
In championships that are as competitive as both Porsche championships this season,
3 tenths is the difference between being like 6th, 7th and being second.
Yeah.
And then it's like, to be honest, if you qualify second, it's sort of, you've got to do something wrong to not be on the podium.
Totally. Yes.
And if you start 6th, somebody else has got to do something wrong for you to be on the podium.
Yeah.
So, but it's not quite as simple as having another set of wheels means that you'll be third, or pole or whatever. But it bloody helps.
But it all adds up.
It bloody helps.
Yeah, being able to box and go, you know what, guys, we need the 3rd set on now because it's a puncher.
Yeah,
would make the difference. So instead of being second, where I was after the first tyre run, I was 13th. And as like I said, you need to now be aggressive. You need to be on the attack.
Yeah. It's so tough because actually not having that then ruins a 10 grand weekend.
Totally.
In a way, it's sort of like a wrong economy of scale. But if you can't afford it, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
You either go racing or don't.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to go racing, so we'll go racing.
Totally. And you don't normally get these 1%ers. These are kind of, and every so often, it happens.
Yeah.
You know.
But you tend to feel the effect of it more if you don't have it.
Totally.
And then you go,
100%. So what was even more frustrating for me is the guy that I'm fighting for the overall championship was on pole. The guy that's second in the championship was 3rd.
Yeah.
And the guy that's right on my heels was 4th. And I'm 13th. And I go, oh dear, this is difficult.
Big sense.
Big sense. So
hope for crashes.
Yeah. So we went very, very risky on the setup in the first race. We went, right, track's going to dry out. Track's going to dry out. Anyway, I didn't. So so my car at the end of the race was so oversteery. It was just unreal to drive.
Good on board, though.
Oh, fantastic on board. I think from the moment I turned into Old Hairpin to the exit, I was sideways.
Yeah, that's not good.
So it meant the first couple of laps, it was okay. I managed to get up to, I think I was from 13th, I think I was about 9th by the end of the first lap.
Good effort.
So not too bad. Obviously, at the start of the race,
pretty
it's
hard
much
to get
easier.
off the line.
They are. Yeah, they're hard to get off the line, but I'm very lucky that I've managed to sort that somehow. I just do my thing and just do it each time, and it seems to work.
Well, when I'm racing Carrera Cup and you're not, then you can tell me what that is.
I shall tell you what that is. Yeah, so managed to get up to 7th in the first race, so that was not a bad effort. And then the second race, started 7th, I managed to get up to 6th off the line, and I made a mistake. I hit one of the bollards at Carrera Curve. They had put these orange bollards there. And it ripped my splitter off.
Yeah.
So I did the whole rest of the race without a little plastic splitter, but it is worth about a second a lap. Bearing in mind,
what lap did you do it?
Lap 2.
Oh yeah, that's useful.
That's really useful.
Yeah.
So again, we went a little bit risky with the setup, and at Carrera Curve,
and then with no splitter.
With no
Yeah,
splitter,
that really aids the.
Yeah. So it was
probably balanced it out a bit actually.
Well, we went for a lot of rear downforce, actually, a lot of rear stability, so I could be ultra aggressive at the start of the race in traffic.
You were so aggressive that you hit the bollard.
Yeah. And basically, what happened is through Carrera Curve. Now that we're not going there again this year, I can say now what we do through there, because I managed to be in all testing, free practice, everything, 2.5 miles an hour quicker than anybody through the speed trap through there.
Right.
And purple in sector 1.
Yeah.
So what you do at Carrera Curve in a 992 Cup car is you set your rear up to be pretty oversteery.
Yeah.
And you hook the inside grass on the right.
Yeah.
As you get to the top of the crest, you stay flat out and you just whip the steering wheel to the left. You create oversteer at the start of the corner, massive rotation entry, reduce a little bit, and then go back flat. And it sits the rear down. You slide past the bollard into the compression and then go back to the left again. It's really cool.
Well done.
Really, really
Good on
cool.
you.
Really cool.
It's a bit leery.
It's awesome. Fantastic. Still the car.
Yeah, I realise that you say stuff about grass and corners that I just think is wrong. So when we went to Goodwood, I was coaching someone and I was like, so Charles, what lap time are you doing this? And I was something like 5 seconds off where you've done. Like, bear in mind, Charles lives at Goodwood.
Yeah, I do live at Goodwood.
And I've been there, this is like my 3rd lap or something. Yeah. And then later on we found out we had the toolbox in the front bonnet. Probably won't help.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, it should be flat, but you need to touch the grass on the way in the middle, and on the way out. And I'm like, in a customer's GT3, I don't think that's a good idea. It's like, you're a little bit crazy. Yeah.
So as I was trying to do that in the race,
I think you could have told everybody else that for the whole weekend, and they'd have gone, you can be 2.5 mile an hour quicker. Yeah, mate. That's fine. I'll give you that. Yeah. I'll stay on.
Stay on, yeah. Well, I'll keep my splitter.
Yeah.
Where we had the car set up differently, I tried to do it, and instead of sliding, I gripped.
Yeah, okay.
And hit the bollard.
You in.
So it was my mistake. I shouldn't have been so aggressive at the start, but as well, I was trying to make places up early whilst I had the grip. And unfortunately, that kind of ruined my race. But the pace, even without a front splitter, was still pretty awesome. I was you lose about a second a lap, and I was actually only 4 seconds off the leader at the end of the race.
No,
I thought pretty good going.
That is good. 26 laps. Yeah. So
19.
So you should have been like 17 seconds behind the leader, and you were 4.
Oh, 4. So I'll take that. Yeah. I'll take that. So really, again, it's just probably the 3rd weekend this season where it's what could have been. But the same way, you make for a
challenge, you can't afford that.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, totally.
1 where it was like,
yeah, totally.
But any more than that, it's not.
And my problem is that the first race of the season, I got fired off.
Yeah. So the problem is when it happens early.
Yeah.
it then puts pressure on the rest of them because
you're just on the
you
back
can't have
foot.
another screw up.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the one after that was at Knock Hill. In race 2, I was second, and then had another car rejoin in a rather crazy way. Clipped the back of my car. I then spun through into the gravel. Thankfully, managed to get it out the gravel and recover back to 6th. But again, that's another one where the guys I'm fighting in the championship with were 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So it's just, I know that within the team, we had the possibility to really challenge for the title this year. It's still a possibility. I just really need people to make mistakes in front, which they're not going to happen with 4 rounds to go.
If you end up 3rd in the championship as a privateer team, I think it's a bloody good effort.
It's a very good achievement.
And if you're sitting there going, coulda, woulda, shoulda, then
it's one of those things.
It's your first year out of PROAM.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good effort.
Totally.
Even if there's nothing else achieved for the rest of this year, then being in a position that you should be very proud of.
Yeah,
I think so.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really happy with how the progression we have shown as a team this year, going from Pro-Am into Pro, and actually really challenging 4 pole positions, 4 wins, 4 podiums. So, I think in all, we've been unlucky this year, but it still has been a fantastic year of racing so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Fantastic. Well, tell you what, Charles, we're going to have to get you back onto the podcast at the end of the year to talk about it, I think. And we'll make sure that we'll just park an RV somewhere. We'll sit you next to Matt so you can just have your hands on each other's knees or whatever else you
can't see my right arm anymore.
You can talk us through the rest of...
Exactly. You see that smile? I know what I'm doing, you see.
Exactly. But,
that's how I got into Carrera Cup.
Many things you can do in the KA.
We'll make sure that we do the Driving Talk vodcast after dark, shall we? But no, Charles, we'll have you back on the podcast for sure at the end of the year to talk about how things are going. It's great to have you on. Thank you ever so much for coming on.
No, it's been,
Paul, quick question before we go.
Thank you for having me. It's been fantastic fun. And hopefully, if I come back on at the end of the season, I can give some good news onto what is happening next year.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of very, very exciting things. I've been very much in the right place at the right time, and I can't wait to share with everybody what's going on next year.
Looking forward to this. Brilliant. Paul, quick question. Have you recently, I've just been looking at your socials, have you recently taken over a fort? What's going on there?
Yeah, I bought a fort, Rob.
A fort?
Is it like a former prison or something?
No, it's opposite the Borstal Young Offenders Institute in Rochester in Kent. So Charles may know where this is, but Fort Borstal was originally Napoleonic, put in place and built by French prisoners of war in case Napoleon came up the Medway, because he only ever attacked by land. And then it became a First World War and a Second World War base. And in the Second World War, it was anti-aircraft, so there's aircraft coming up over the channel. It's not your kind of picturesque Disney type scenario where you expect to see some sort of castle on the side of a hill. It's very, very much hidden away, but it's 8.5 acres for the fort itself. There's 57 acres of land next to it. There are amazing underground tunnels, and we've got our own nightclub in the tunnels.
57 acres enough to build a racetrack.
Very cool. Yeah, it might be a bit slopey. It's on the side. If you come over the Medway,
so far,
the land up to the left-hand side. So it's
2 of the best tracks in the country.
Exactly.
They've got lots of hills.
Yeah.
This sounds great, and it's got a nightclub there.
Yeah, Carl Graves already tapping me up. Carl Graves already tapping me up.
That's one place I've never been, is a nightclub.
But
never been to a nightclub
because I've never had friends my own age.
What?
I know. I've never been to a nightclub. I've never been clubbing ever. That is a true story.
I think we might have to take
so we're going to take Charles to the fort.
Yeah.
Although,
Now, what I can say, Charles, is if you manage to...
So, for my birthday, we were actually at Donington Park for Callum. He was doing some testing on my birthday.
I imagine he's a guy who has been to a nightclub.
I don't know, actually, but we all thoroughly enjoyed it. The boys took me out to Hooters. And that was an interesting experience. But the food was actually very good.
Yeah.
I
enjoyed the
portion sizes were fantastic.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
And the girls have fantastic personalities.
Lovely.
Fantastic. All of them.
Yeah, and very nice shorts.
Yeah, I love the fact that the first thing you spoke about there was the food and not the women that are serving.
Yeah, actually,
so
I've got a fantastic photo which I'll show you. Charles, apparently, I had to have taken. So I'll show you that once it's finished. Yeah. I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah, brilliant. But what we can do is, if you get everything sorted for the rest of this year, like you're talking about, and you have a great end to the season, you can come and celebrate with your team, and we'll open the nightclub up just for you and your people. I'll send you
fantastic.
A couple of
sounds like a good place for an end of season.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
It is. I'm sure there's been some interesting parties there over years gone by, knowing the owner that we got it from. But so we're hoping to do some exciting stuff with it, but it's very unique. I can't even explain it to you. You've got to come and see it.
So you've actually bought
to
a
understand it, but yeah,
cool.
Yeah, genuinely, yeah. So 2.2 million, I think it was. So,
we'll find out why.
Well, maybe look forward to some epic. Look forward to some epic driving talk podcasts from there in the future. You never know.
It's just a recording studio. Spent 2.2 million on a recording studio. It's going to be great. Yeah,
big budget now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Massive.
Good for car meets, static displays. Yeah.
That's the kind of budget we're talking about this time, Charles. Right.
We can afford wheels.
Yeah, wheels. Yeah, tires.
Yes. And on that chaotic note, I think, gents, it's time to end what is quite a lengthy episode there. We've just reached into the hour and 45 minutes. Our thanks again to our lovely guest, Charles Rainford, and Max Coach. You can go off and do what you need to at Silverstone now, chaps. Good luck for the test tomorrow. From yourself, Paul Harvey, anything else to add, Paul?
No, obviously, thanks for coming on, giving us your time, Charles. It's great to see your career flourishing. Hope you go from strength to strength. And just learn from all the things that Max doesn't do, or the things that he shouldn't do. That's the best way to make the career go forwards, isn't it? So.
No, thank you for having me, guys. It's been fantastic.
There we go. And fantastic, Charles. Well, that's been the Driving Talk podcast powered by Icon. Don't forget to like and subscribe on Spotify and everything like that, and get on our YouTube channel and subscribe on there as well for some great content, and hopefully in the future for some more fantastic guests just like Charles. But for now, bye everyone.